Hi everyone! Welcome to week 3 of English 101 in the summer. Can you believe we're almost halfway done with our course? Crazy. I loved meeting all of you in person this last week, and I'm really excited to see how your blog posts turned out and what you do with this next essay. So take a deep breath. Thankfully, this next essay you have 2 weeks to do instead of just the one. Woo-hoo-hoo. Gonna party. And I'll just go over your assignments for this week, some tips to keep in mind, and we'll get started. Alright, so takeaways from week 2. After looking over the discussion board and all the feedback that you guys gave to each other via your blog posts and the discussion, some things to keep in mind is that feedback on your writing is critical. Several of you mentioned to me that it's difficult to just post your writing out there and ask people to give you feedback before you really polished and finished and want to publish what you're writing. But you got to remember that having feedback in the process makes that process even easier and makes that published piece even better. Supporting your ideas was also good, and constructive criticism, that when you are giving feedback, you want to be constructive. You don't just want to say, hey, this looks great, or hey, I think this really sucks. Because neither of those will really help the writer in getting better. So I want you to keep these things in mind as we continue working through Essay 3. All right, so assignment 3. Again, reading quiz, discussion board, and then you'll have a song analysis and the Essay 3 draft. So I'm going to go over sort of some tips to keep in mind, but these are the same sort of layout as we usually have. Just make sure that you do these in the order they're listed because they build on each other. So when thinking about this next assignment, I want you guys to keep in mind the idea of a rhetorical situation. So when you're interacting with any type of persuasive piece, be it a piece of writing, a speech, a movie, a song, an advertisement, a picture, any of these exist in a rhetorical situation. So within this, you want to think about the context within which the piece occurs. So when and where and to whom was this piece presented, who the audience is, and I want you to be specific here. Americans are not an audience. 20-something Americans living in Granite City, Illinois, that's an audience, all right? So I want you to think about how narrow can I get here? Who really is this working to persuade, okay? And then also you want to think about the purpose. Why was this made? And what's the end goal here? And when you're thinking about songs this week, a lot of people will say, well, the purpose is to entertain. Sure, that's true. But I don't think that's really getting to the true point of a lot of songs. So the example that we're going to look at in a second actually has a much deeper purpose than just entertaining you. Essay 3 is going to involve choosing a song, your own choice, to summarize, analyze, and respond to. Now the reason I do this in my English 101 course is because college classrooms often ask you to read a lot, and then they ask you to say what you think about that. And to really be strong at giving your opinion about these pieces, you have to be able to know how to break them down, which comes from analyzing and how to objectively say, okay, here's what this piece is about, separate yourself from it, then bring yourself back into it and say, okay, here's what I think about that. I think a lot of times we have a difficulty separating ourselves from the message of what's being presented before immediately saying, this is what I think about it. We have kind of a visceral reaction sometimes, especially to songs. We either agree or we don't. And I want you guys first to take a step back and say, okay, what is the song saying to me before you ask yourself what it means to you? All right. An example I'm going to go with is a song by Macklemore called Same Love. So some of you may have heard the song before, and if so, perfect. If not, don't worry. When you choose your song, I want you to start with some background, some context. You can, look this up on Wikipedia, technically considered common knowledge, but when was the song made? Who was it made for? Where was it released and why is it popular? You need all of that context Remember the context from our rhetorical situation. You need that context to really understand the persuasion of the piece you're looking at. Sorry, there was a bee that just flew into my window. All right, so Same Love was made in 2012, and it's relevant because this was released just before gay marriage was legalized. It was released in the US and on some hip-hop and pop stations primarily, so that gives you an idea of the general type of person who might be exposed to the song initially. It became popular because it was one of the first top 40 songs to promote same-sex marriage, which was pretty controversial at the time. And then in thinking about the audience, I came up with almost 2 different audiences. I think that this appeals to young listeners specifically, and those who both support gay marriage and those who are not really sure. Because what the song does is it tries to persuade its audience to support and vote for same-sex marriage. Okay, so I realized after I made this PowerPoint that because I am recording this on my computer, I can't actually play the song and have you hear the audio with my mic in. So if you've not heard the song before, I encourage you to go to YouTube, pause this video, go watch it, all right, and then come back and look at the pieces I've pulled from the video. Some of you, given your background, may have experiences and opinions about this topic that don't match what is in the song. That's okay. I am not asking you to agree. What I'm asking you to do is objectively say, what is this saying to me? And then whether you agree. Okay? It's really important in any, college or life context to be able to say, okay, here's an opinion someone else has, and I need to first break it down before I respond. All right? So, pause, go watch it, come back. Once you've done that, we're going to go over some lyrics. So, once you've done the background and the context, the next part of your essay is going to be summarizing the song and its argument. To do this, you want to really start to analyze the lyrics and break down what it's saying to you. Okay? So this is just the first stanza of the song. And I decided to circle a couple things that really stick out to me. Okay? This part where he says, my uncle was gay and I kept my room straight. And then when he talks about treating same-sex relationships or tendencies with religion, playing God, and this part where he says that America the brave still fears what we don't know. So I'm going to take those 3 pieces and pull out main ideas that I think the song is saying to me. Here, from those lyrics, I've gotten these 3 points: that we stereotype LGBTQ people, that he's advocating that we separate church and state, so that religion should not be involved with marriage, and that the U.S. is intolerant of differences. And I'm going to go back to these lyrics. No. Okay, anyway. So these are just some pieces that I pulled out, okay? And maybe I want to build my essay around these and kind of talk about whether I agree or disagree with this. This summary is from a student I had choose this song in class, and they came up with kind of a different idea, but I think still relevant. They said that this song has a way of creating its own controversy. It brings light to many strong arguments in favor of same-sex relationships. Same Love argues that religious ideology surrounding love is outdated. The song also claims that homosexual love is no different than heterosexual love. Finally, Same Love touches base with the idea of same-sex marriage and its need to be legalized. We have a long way to go in terms of accepting same-sex couples, but the song argues the right to marriage will take it one step closer. When you're looking at this summary, I want you to ask yourself, do you know if this person agrees or disagrees with the song? Not really. Not yet. And that makes it a good summary. I want you to keep your opinion out of the summary. I want you to just objectively say, here's what the song's about. All right? And then the whole rest of the essay is for you to break it down and say, here's why this works, here's why it doesn't, and how I feel about it. Okay? You'll also notice they don't have I in here. They also haven't included any lyrics, because that's really going to those are going to be your examples. once you've summarized, in your draft, you're going to work to kind of think about your reaction to the song. And this is where you can include your opinion. How do these ideas apply to my life experience? Do I think the song could be more persuasive? Is there anything about the song that I think works really well in appealing to its audience? All right. And then one of the readings that you have to do this week on another song called Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue does a good idea of really pulling out those symbols from the song. Last thing, while you're using lyrics in your essay, you need to recognize that this is information that's not your own ideas and they're coming from somewhere else, okay? So if you're using lyrics in your response, which you should be, then I would ask that all of you have an in-text citation, which means in the body of your writing, when you refer to an outside source, you have in parentheses, here's where that came from, okay? And this example here is for Beyonce's song Freedom from Lemonade. And the in-text citation is simply her last name and then the song title. So for Macklemore, I would have Macklemore, comma, same love in quotations. Then at the end of your essay, I'd like you to have the reference information for the song. You'll see an example here again with Freedom from Lemonade. And what you need here is just the artist or artists, the name of the song, name of the album, the producer, and the year. You can skip the online and date access, but at the very least, I'd like to know where you got this song. All right, that is it for our week 3 video. I know this was a little long-winded compared to the one last week, so hopefully you made it this far. Again, if you didn't take a minute to go and watch the Same Love video and kind of think about what the message means, I'd really encourage you to do so. I think it's a good example of a topic that really could go several different ways. All right, so if you guys have any questions, please email me. But otherwise, I will see you online.